Don't call it Comicsgate. Why not? There was no other way. We are Comicsgate. Hello, this is Robert Romano with Comicsgate.org. Hit that subscribe button. Today, I wanted to address some issues coming up with the Comicsgate trademark. I've done a lot of videos on this in the past, covering the trial between Ethan Van Sciver and Preston Poulter that's been ongoing for years now at the U.S. Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. And there's actually also a countersuit that Ethan is filing for a few $1 million in New Jersey. Preston's suing him for defamation. Ethan's countersuing for trademark counterfeiting and piracy. And this kind of goes back to 2018 when Ethan was the first person to use Comicsgate in commerce. And then a few months later, after he launched Cyberfrog and it was very successful, suddenly Vox Day was saying he was going to do a Comicsgate imprint. And then Ethan said, not so fast. He had his attorneys apparently send a cease and desist to Vox Day saying, no, you can't do that because I'm the common law trademark holder for Comicsgate. And so it was necessary to do that to protect the Comicsgate name. And, in the days and weeks that followed, Antonio Malpica actually filed his own application for the Comicsgate trademark, but he let Ethan know about it. Ethan kind of, I guess, gave his blessing. And then, fast forward a couple years, and then he was falling behind on the application. And he was unable to, he eventually got it done, actually, but it looked like it was going into some sort of abandonment or something like that. And that the application was not going to be fully approved. He had done the application in 2018, but he needed to follow through with the paperwork. And it's in the middle of COVID. And so I think that maybe there were some issues there. But eventually he got, he kind of, when Preston Poulter then filed his own application for the Comicsgate trademark, it was abundantly clear to the movement that, wait a second, is the name in jeopardy? What would this mean? For me personally, I started the Comicsgate.org website here. And today we're going to talk about this Patrick Thomas Parnell video where he was kind of attacking the Comicsgate trademark and the idea of it. I mean, you can see right here in the screenshot, approved by Comicsgate DM. What does this fucking mean? Well, I mean, and you can also see he's also referencing the Pit Omnibus and what is CG, and then he has the Comicsgate TM 2018 versus 2023. Well, I got to say that the Comicsgate trademark, such as it is, goes back to 2018, to those first uses in commerce, to Vox Day, to the cease and desist letter, to Antonio Malpica. His application began in 2018 when all this was going on. And then fast forward to 2019, I'm getting Comicsgate.org. You can see Patrick's video here. It is automatically curated by the website. There's a plugin that just sucks in YouTube videos from Comicsgaters and then posts them to the website. You can subscribe to the newsletter, and then you'll get these videos in your inbox every day. And until a few days ago, it was posting on Comicsgate Video on Twitter, but they've just updated their API. There's a new version of it, and it's kicked a lot of the bots out. So I was using kind of a plugin to automatically post everything from the website to Twitter, but it's not functioning right now. So I'm trying to work on a stopgap, and I kind of just do this in my free time, building the website through 2019 and then 2020. I spent so many hours during the lockdowns on this website because I thought it was very important that there be something that would kind of promote Comicsgate, because there was a lot of people who were detracting Comicsgate, and I wanted there to be something that would be positive for Comicsgate. And I said, maybe a website would work. Wow. So in November 2019, I noticed that Comicsgate.org was available on GoDaddy for like $18. And I was like, wow, it doesn't look like anyone's really protecting the name. What made me look it up was, I believe John Delarose was also talking about doing his own Comicsgate imprint. And I was starting to think, I'm like, wait a second, is anyone going to, protect this name, or is it just going to be kind of like a free for all with people doing, whatever, calling stuff CG? And so here I am. I'm someone who said, maybe I should do something called Comicsgate. But I wanted it to be for the entire movement. And in any event, I wanted to address what was going on in this video. And I had a super chat in there and then Patrick responds. And so let's listen to that. It's a very short clip, and then I'll go to why the trademark was necessary.
Robert Romano, we just sent a package out to you, by the way, sir. Can you read this?
Robert Romano for $4.99. There was no other way to protect the Comicsgate name. It was being pirated and counterfeited by someone who was threatening to shut down channels.
Okay, well then don't call it Comicsgate. Just call it whatever.
No, who cares? Who cares?
Who cares?
It's a name like, I mean, I'm not just, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm just tired of talking about it.
So there it was. Don't call it Comicsgate. In my situation, though, and thanks for shipping the books. Patrick's a very avid and prolific comic skater and creator. Johnny Phantasm, he's done several books there. I think I got them all, and apparently one of them is getting shipped to me now. But we need to go back to 2020 and the trademark crisis that began when Preston Poulter filed his own application. You'll recall this article from Bleeding Fool. Preston Poulter trademarks Comicsgate. And this was very misleading. No, we've got an ad there. That's going to slow everything down. How do I make that ad go away? Maybe I just need to let it kind of run out here. Kind of go away, ad. Go away. Okay, maybe it's going to stop now. Hopefully it doesn't keep on playing. Oh, there's another one. Jeez. Okay, we'll just leave it right there. Preston Poulter trademarks Comicsgate. This was April 22, 2020. And this was such a misleading article because it publicly, it was kind of stating that he had already registered it. He already owned it. He had already stolen it, and he could do whatever he wanted with it. And this was by Rich Johnston back in August and September 2018. Fox Day stated he was going to launch a Comicsgate imprint. Comic creator Ethan Van Sciver stated that day they had no right to the name. And then Ethan on his YouTube show called Comicsgate Live that he had rights to make a comic book imprint called Comicsgate rather than Day. However, within days of the conversation, Antonio Malpica was then fundraising his own book, and he applied to register Comicsgate. In discussion with U.S. government, lawyers acting for Malpica stated, and then he quotes the application. But now it appears to someone else has stepped up to register a very similar trademark, one word this time, Comicsgate, for the field of comic books. The registration is made by Common Sense Press Incorporated, doing business as Pocket Jacks Comics of Dallas, Texas. Preston Poulter is the writer and creator who publishes under the name Pocket Jacks Comics and is a regular voice critical of Comicsgate with YouTube videos commonly covering last week in Comicsgate, which means he may well have a case to register to register the word as the trademark. And here it was. He showed a screenshot from the USPTO. And everyone thought this meant that that this meant it was registered. Why? Because listen to the quote that follows. Bleeding Cool discovered this information independently. Okay, yeah, maybe. Contacted Poulter for comment this morning. He told Bleeding Cool, quote, I registered Comicsgate. One word, as I publish comic books, and it won't be hard to do a book that uses the trademark, which no one else has done to date. I will establish criteria over who can use the trademark that will forbid engaging in online harassing, the doxing of customers, or failure to fulfill in a timely fashion. Is there anyone willing to challenge him on that, says Johnston. You can see his latest video below. I think it will be one that comes next, which will be most interesting. So here was Preston Poulter saying he already registered it. He already owned it. And here's this misleading headline. He already trademarked it. It wasn't registered fully yet, though. There was an application. And you can see here the application was filed on April 15, 2020. And it's under examination, but it's been suspended. If you go to the documents here, this thing's been suspended for quite some time now. The suspension letter actually came on July 6, 2020. Why? Because it was confusingly similar to Malpica's own registration, which was moving forward in the process at that point. And I'll just pull that suspension up. The IP address could not. USPTO's got to fix its website here. Oh, here we go. Just a little glitch there on probably my browser. Actually, their website's working just fine, apparently. So let's get that down here. This application is suspended for reasons specified below. USPTO database search prior filing potentially conflicting pending applications found. A trademark attorney, they searched through it, and they found the Malpica at that time application 8810277 Comicsgate. And the suspension process will periodically check this application to remain if it should still be suspended, which it is. There was another suspension letter that went out in 2021. And then if you look at the most recent status, suspension check completed, status date December 8, 2022, application remains suspended. So one reason to have defended the Comicsgate trademark at this point was because there was at that point, a pending application by Antonio Malpica, and which got fully registered. And then in 2021, Ethan actually acquired the Comicsgate trademark application or registration from Malpica. I guess he bought it, and so now it's Ethan. It's been fully acquired. And Ethan had always had a stronger claim than Malpica because Ethan was the first to use it in commerce. And so why did I get involved with this? It was because I saw this article and I saw everyone on Twitter panicking, saying, "Oh my God, they're Preston Poulter's trademark Comicsgate. What do we do? What do we do?" And so I called the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. I say, "What's going on with this application? Is this fully registered? Everyone thinks that this is a done deal." Very nice lady I spoke to. She said, not only was it not fully registered, that this was merely an application, and that it would probably take months or longer to resolve the matter, but that he didn't have the full rights to the Comicsgate trademark at that point. And so just the fact that it was an application was not fully understood by people. That this, application filing date, that he hadn't registered it. You get it registered if the USPTO, approves the application for registration, which they eventually did for the Malpica application. But I got involved with that, and then I had already started doing the website, and I was like, I'm going to show everyone the website because I've been working on this since 2019. And then I got into a back and forth with Vickyverse, and she was basically showing. Let's see. Let's zoom in here a little. Zoom in. All right, there we go. And she's like, "Oh, so Robert, you're doing Comicsgate.org." Quote. This is May 6, 2020. Quote. "So you'll be promoting Comics Jack's universe of books for him. That's so sweet of you." And so I responded. I was like, who cares? The Parnells. At that point, I cared because I was launching a Comicsgate.org website, and I thought it would be an important vehicle for promoting the movement. And so I said, very plainly, if Comics Jacks withdraws his trademark application without precondition, and I can verify it in the USPTO database before it ever gets to the examining attorney, I'll consider adding him to the website. Otherwise, y'all can go fuck yourselves, because I felt at this point he's already threatening people with the, he's gonna police the trademark. He's gonna decide who is and who is not Comicsgate. And I was like, well, that's bullshit. I think I might have I started doing this in 2019, so maybe his application in 2020 won't impact me if I try to defend myself, which I'm trying to do publicly. And then he threatened me. There's Preston Poulter, Pocket Jacks Comics. Quote, "You might want to get ready to change your website, May 6, 2020, 6:42 p.m. And I was just like, holy shit, this is a big deal. Like, he's literally going to try to take down people who call themselves Comicsgate. If you try to do a Comicsgate website, he's going to take that down. This is Comicsgate.org. Again, you can subscribe and you'll get these videos in your inbox every day. And at the time I was putting it together in 2020, one of the first things I did was search the hashtag. And then I looked for creators who had Indiegogo campaigns and who had video channels. And I tried to just create as big a compilation of them as I could. There was like over 150 of them. And I spent countless hours during the lockdowns and during the pandemic to put the website together, doing a lot of coding, and then I wanted to promote the projects too. But eventually, there were so many new projects coming out, and what would happen is creators wouldn't send them to me. And I wouldn't know that a project was launching until much later in the process. And eventually I was getting behind, and it was like, I was also getting behind on onboarding creators. A lot of people were coming onto the website. They wanted to register. I've still got all your registrations, guys, in the database. I'm still working on the other sister site, Comicsgate.com, and anyone who's registered, I'm gonna, those registrations are going to apply to Comicsgate.com, so you'll be able to log in there. And if you ever want to launch a campaign, when I do get this finished, you'll be able to do that. But this, I don't have to do this, but I can't. I really cared about the movement. I felt that there needed to be alternatives that were going to be promoted, to the mainstream, because I didn't think they were going to change their ways. And so I thought that, Comicsgate's here to stay. But this application, this obnoxious trademark application by Preston Poulter, this should be countered. And so at that point, I was getting in touch with, I wanted to, hey, Antonio, is everything going okay? Or he's like, yeah, I'm getting I'm getting my application back in order, which he did. And then it got fully registered that July. And then you kind of fast forward towards the end of the year. Suddenly, Preston Poulter is filing suit against Antonio Malpica at the U.S. Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. You can see here. Can you see that on the screen? Yeah. Okay. So on October 1, 2020, he was filing a cancellation proceeding against Antonio Malpica. And then it was instituted, and then there was a back and forth at the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. And this crashed right into COVID. So suddenly, probably USPTO, TTAB, it's not at work. Everyone's working from home. And so this trial got, delayed for a really, really long time until Ethan Van Sciver stepped in. And, by the end of the year, it looked like Antonio might need an attorney or something. But then I tried to get him one, but then they, they didn't want the case or something. So then I contacted a different attorney because I was like, well, what about my website? Maybe I should try to find a way to protect the Comicsgate trademark, or not the trademark, but the Comicsgate.org website. And I got in touch with a very good attorney in Fairfax, Virginia, Scott Hudeman. And I commissioned a legal letter from him, which we published on Comicsgate.org, where under his analysis, Ethan had used it first in commerce, and he had the right to move ahead with it. If he was willing to defend it, et cetera, et cetera. And then Ethan ended up hiring this attorney who had a very thorough analysis of the Comicsgate trademark and kind of the backgrounds of trademark law. There's also a timeline of the use of Comicsgate, and then there's a Comicsgate.net, but it's kind of overseas and kind of a different thing, not generally applicable to the United States. There's the Comicsgate trademark hashtag that began in 2014 on Twitter. And then in July of 2018, Ethan Van Sciver was promoting Comicsgate Live, and he was collecting super chats. He also was launching Cyberfrog that year, and kind of under the hashtag Comicsgate, like, yeah, we want a response to this kind of woke mainstream crap. Support Cyberfrog instead. Ethan didn't have to take this up. He didn't have to take it up in 2018 when Vox Day did the imprint and he did the legal letter, which probably cost money too, right? Lawyers cost money. But he did it. And now he's fully engaged with the trial. It's been going on for a while, and now proceedings have just resumed on May 19, 2023. So here you are 3 years later into this process, and this trial is just ongoing. So kind of this solution that was put out there, just don't call it Comicsgate, I think is wrong. I mean, the fact is everyone's channels, like I personally had an interest, like, what if Ethan hadn't gone through with, acquiring the trademark from Malpica? I would have had to ask the attorney, like, well, what do I do? How do I protect this? And he would have had some advice for me or something like that. But it turned out that wasn't necessary because Ethan was going to acquire it, and then he was going to promote Comicsgate.org. And he's been very generous, and this is a significant legal cost. So if you guys are looking for ways to support Comicsgate and in this battle, my understanding is that the 2023 All Caps Comics and CG Apparel campaign the profits from that, such as they are go to the legal costs. So that's a way to support Ethan's kind of, the battle there. And you can get CG apparel here. There's Comicsgate. It says Comicsgate 18, and then the ball caps. And then let's see here. There's other Comicsgate apparel here. The Comicsgate T-shirts. Soy free. That's pretty cool. The black one's pretty cool too. I like this one. And so it's kind of a, what do they call this one? The black and red baseball T-shirt. But there's many Comicsgate apparels here that you can order. And on this crowdfunding campaign, which has already raised $115,000, 511, 1,551 backers. Thank you guys. So, like, this is important. I mean, it's not just about protecting, a website. I mean, from my perspective, that's kind of how I got interested in this. And I was definitely being threatened with being deplatformed. And it's actually come out later in various Twitter messages and Discords, etc. That his plan has definitely been to shut down Comicsgate YouTube channels and to basically try to use the trademark to destroy the movement and to destroy its marketability as an answer, as kind of a counterculture answer to what turns out to have been kind of environmental, social governance, investment influence on not just the comic book industry, but entertainment industry, major mega corporations, and not just entertainment. It mentions environmental, so like oil companies are being taken over by these kinds of investors. You have a lot of large hedge funds like BlackRock and Vanguard with trillions of dollars at their disposal, who take their clients' money and then vote the boards of directors on their behalfs. And then they're able to put in woke kind of boards of directors to do things like restrict oil production, to raise the price, to make green alternatives more attractive. And the view I have is that kind of violates antitrust, but they don't stop there. Of course, there's the diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda, which you are all familiar with, and which has been, been a big part of the comic industry as well. And what you find is that they're using racial and gender hiring quotas, which, in my view, my opinion, violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. Employment discrimination under the basis of race or sex is illegal under federal law, but these corporations are bragging about it. Disney, Warner, at the time it was owned by AT&T, now it's owned by Discovery. Discovery has diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. We've done a few live streams on Ethan's channel where we talked about how it was, I think it was Walter Hamada. I pulled up one of these investor pamphlets where he was basically just outlining the diversity, equity, and inclusion and racial and gender hiring quotas in an investor pamphlet, and saying that, this applies to comics. And it was an ESG pamphlet. And so I think it's very evident that the ESG had a major impact on all this. But, kind of getting back to the trademark and kind of why it's necessary to protect it is because Pocket Jacks was basically counterfeiting and pirating the Comicsgate name at the time that Malpica's application was active. And Malpica, it turns out, had a licensing agreement with Dark Gift Comics, Anthony Romano, that ultimately resulted in a re-examination proceeding, which Preston, I don't know, kind of foolishly asks for. He says, you need to do a re-examination. I mean, he was trying to end the trial really quickly, but the alternative was going to be that Ethan was going to win the re-examination proceeding because Malpica had done this license, which I don't think that Poulter was aware of. And so this was on January 7. Here's Ethan Van Sciver. Quote, yesterday, the USPTO ruled that I had prior claim on Comicsgate to the odious Preston Poulter and canceled his attempt to re-examine the claim. He used the mark in commerce anyhow and is now in violation of the Lanham Act. And that's absolutely correct. It's yesterday, and he's suing him. We are suing Preston Poulter for trademark counterfeiting. We are entitled to statutory damages of $200,000 or up to $2 million per willful misuse of my mark, which, thanks to Bleeding Cool's smug article about it and that interview with actual fandom, is very provable. And here was the re-examination proceeding, which Poulter, if he shouldn't have done this. I think that this actually did not work to his advantage, because this is the examination they're going to be looking at, I think, at the trial. USPTO has terminated the proceeding as explained below. No response is required. Upon review of the evidence of record, the USPTO determined that the registrant has demonstrated use of the mark in commerce for all goods subject to the proceeding. Evidence and arguments provided by registrant, which is Ethan, demonstrates valid use of the relevant goods in interstate commerce. This was for the ones that had been submitted in this reexamination, where Anthony Romano's Sunday Follies, War the Wizard with Mandy Summers, but also The Dark Midnight, which Anthony was selling before an August 2020 legal deadline. So he was licensed by Malpica. Malpica had until August of 2020 to demonstrate use of the mark in commerce. Romano's, the licensing to Romano actually accomplished that. And so there were a couple books there, and there were actually other licensings that I think Malpica was involved with at the time. So those were just two examples, but I don't think they're the only examples. And they'll see, accordingly, no change is required to the registration. These goods were provided through trade channels that directly affect interstate commerce during the period of time relevant to this proceeding. Accordingly, no change is required to the registration, and the proceeding is terminated. This re-examination proceeding, which now heads back to the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board, which is onerous because it goes on and on and on. And again, Ethan didn't have to do this. This is I think, he's sacrificing his time and money that he made with Cyberfrog to defend the Comicsgate name, so that Comicsgaters can feel free to associate with Comicsgate, to support Comicsgate. So that websites can exist that called itself Comicsgate, or you have YouTube whatever. I mean, he's been not open about the licensing, but he's open to licensing. So if it meets his quality standards, I think you could just contact Ethan and the attorney, and they can work that out. But this trial has been going on for 3 years now, and it's going to drag all the way to potentially July of 2024, just at the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. Now, either this registration will be canceled, the Malpica one, or not, and then maybe that's done deal. And then you have the New Jersey proceedings and the countersuit that Ethan's pursuing. And I wish him luck with that, but this isn't cheap, guys. And so, please do support the 2023 All Caps Comics and CG Apparel campaign. I think that's a way you can kind of show your support. The link's in the description. And so let's see, do I have anything else here to talk about? Let's see. There's that. There's the trial. Oh, yeah. So one of the things that I've also done is try to get Comicsgate up on Google. So if people ask, like, why do you have to call yourselves Comicsgate? Don't call yourself, just don't call it Comicsgate. And it's like, well, no, you can actually, by promoting Comicsgate, you can actually get a positive version of Comicsgate onto Google. And that's what I did since 2020 or 2021. When I kind of finished production on the website. I started in 2019, and it took about a year and a couple months to get to get it into a version that was good enough to say, hey, here, go there now. And so I started buying an ad on Google, Comicsgate.org, the gateway to indie comics. There's also the Comicsgate video, Twitter account that until a few days ago was automatically posting these videos. And I'll just scroll down so you can see what this thing was doing. Let's see here. And then I started retweeting videos because it's like, the API is not working. I better do something. Let's see here. Going down. Okay, so here's me complaining about the API. Okay, so then we're starting to get some videos here, some John Delarose videos. This was on June 13th. This is the last time it posted. Here's a Jason Bascom video, and it just automatically pumps these things out onto Twitter. Here's Dave Brink, A Drink with Brink. Here's Graham Nolan Indie Comics Showcase Episode 4. Let's see, Lobo, Darksiders Comics, Lobo 1 review, Portrait of a Psychopath. There's a Michael Bancroft, Eric July's Rippaverse, Isom 2 crushes close to $1 million on first day. So this kind of what was the functionality. And then just to kind of update you, this was the Twitter thread I did on the 14th. As soon as they changed the API, I was like, why's my thing not posting? And then I found this deprecation of legacy access tiers in the Twitter API. Looks like Comicsgate video will be down for the foreseeable future. The auto videos, until either the plugin that was posting to Twitter is updated by XYZ scripts. That's the one I was using. I developed my own function. I'm trying to maybe ChatGPT can help me create a WordPress function that will be able to just automatically post to Twitter using their new API. Now, Twitter makes up about 13% of Comicsgate.org's overall traffic. So this is not a devastating blow, but it hurts because it's about 90% of the referral traffic. So the fact that this Twitter account was automatically doing outbound links to Comicsgate.org was, that it was actually boosting traffic, and it was probably helping to boost the Google results as well. Every day, this bot promotes creator videos and channels to help build their platforms. If Twitter would let me, by the way, I would tag the creators whose videos are on there, because then they'd be notified that, hey, someone's promoting my video, and then they would know to retweet it or like it or comment on it or quote tweet it. And then I complained to Elon Musk. I wanted to see if upgrading to a higher paid API would enable the bot to work again, and it didn't. So I upgraded, and then I actually paid $20 to find out that, hey, it's not going to work. There's something wrong with the plugin that I'm using, or there's something, or they just need to open up the API more. Maybe they need to reapprove the bots. So I'll just keep on kind of poking at this and seeing if anyone finds the solution. But upgrading to the basic tier did not create elevated access needed to post to Twitter. It's throwing a code 453 in response to attempts to post using the plugin. And then I do a feature request where I say I'd like to tag creators whose videos are being promoted so that they can retweet them or that they know to retweet them. But that's what happened to Comicsgate video. You can still kind of follow that there, but it's almost immediately it was knocked off of Google. It was like the number 3 result on Google, and Comicsgate.org is the number 2 result on Google. When you go to search Comicsgate, it's not just the Wikipedia article, this defamatory, what Michael Bancroft calls a slander farm article. It's got Comicsgate.org there. And then I bet you got the ad. I'm still paying for the ad. That ain't cheap, guys. I'm just paying for that out of my pocket. Running the server is not cheap. Paying for that out of my pocket. I'm trying to develop it. The hours I've spent on this, I wasn't just going to call it something else. With all due respect to the Parnells, I really wanted to and just let them know when I was watching the stream that no, there was no other way to protect the trademark. There was no other way to protect these websites. And I'm so grateful to Ethan Van Sciver because he stepped up and he said, we're going to defend Comicsgate. I guess he consulted with his family and they thought that that was the right thing to do. And so I'm so grateful that he did that because something like Comicsgate.org can exist and you can actually break through. You can actually defeat the Wikipedia article. When Ethan went on to Timcast, he actually promoted Comicsgate.org. And I was still on kind of a dinky shared hosting plan. I didn't expect him to do that. I was like, oh my God, there goes the website. And then I'm like fumbling around, but not really. I'm just like, I kept to keep it somewhat visible. I had to keep switching the PHP version so that it would, whatever overloading script there was, at least one visitor could get in there, or maybe 5 visitors, or however, until it crashed again. I think Eric July had a similar problem. I don't think he's on a shared hosting plan. I'm just saying that overwhelming traffic, like over 20,000 people were trying to get to Comicsgate.org all at once, but it had a curious impact on the Google results. Temporarily, it got the Comicsgate.org website over the top. We beat the Wikipedia article, for like a day or two, because there was a lot more traffic coming to Comicsgate.org than there was to the Wikipedia article. And that's how Google's algorithm works. It's not discriminatory in any particular sense. It's actually going to let Comicsgate.org be the number 1 result on Google. That's not the ad. That's the actual listing. And there it was. It was defeating it. This was on, let's see, May 26th or March 26th. Sorry, guys. We did it, guys. We defeated the Wikipedia article. Thank you, Ethan Van Sciver and Timcast and everyone in Comicsgate. The shout out crashed Comicsgate.org and overpowered a slanderous article that becomes less significant by the day. It might not hold that position consistently because Google results can be volatile like that. It was like that when it broke out onto the front page. Still a very good sign. So it eventually got to Comicsgate.org, got to the front page. And I believe, growing YouTube channels like That Umbrella Guy, when he was doing the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, there's a lot of videos on that. They were being posted on Comicsgate.org. That drove a fuck ton of, thank you, Tug. That drove a fuck ton of traffic to Comicsgate.org, and it helped it get to the #2 slot. Other notable Comicsgater YouTubers whose channels who have been growing pretty dramatically lately. Actually, one of them includes Adam Post. He's been driving a lot of traffic to the Comicsgate.org website. I actually went on his channel way back when, after I launched the website, to talk about the website and what it could do. And so thank you, Adam Post, for having me on, but also for, everyone who has a growing YouTube channel on Comicsgate.org and then drives more traffic to the website. It helps when you go and you promote Comicsgate. You can actually make a positive version of Comicsgate be the thing that people find. It's not going to be a bunch of negative articles. We beat the Inverse article. We beat the Washington Post article. I mean, I guess we're still beating the Comicsgate L's, even though Comicsgate.org, the Comicsgate video, this result's going to go down, though. If I can't figure out the API issues that are going on Twitter right now and try to find a resolution to get these videos to auto post, the traffic to the Twitter account is going to start to go down. And so I need to find a resolution to that. It's going to take hours. It's going to take some development, and it's going to take me taking time out of my day job and my schedule. Just like I'm taking time out of Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, guys. So let's go to the chat here. I think I've covered almost everything. Again, please support the 2023 All Caps Comics and CG Apparel, and support Comicsgate and websites. Here's CG Now by Michael Bancroft that shows basically books that are delivering right now from Comicsgaters that you can get right now. And so that's a good way to support. There's a Comicsgate website that says Comicsgate, comic books and graphic novels available. So this is, another website that could have been potentially impacted, another channel, or if you will, that could have been potentially impacted by the trademark proceeding. Creatorgo.com. You can actually do the CG tracker, Comicsgate, right at the top there. So this was another website that promotes Comicsgate campaigns and these are all funding campaigns. Some of these are in demand. Some of them have ended, but they just kind of, there's Dark Harvest, 176,000. It also promotes indie comics that are not necessarily saying we're Comicsgate. So here's Ghost of the Badlands by Razor Fist and George Alexopoulos, and so that's raised 347,000, and so 1.9 million in 2023 funds only in so campaigns that are currently funding on Indiegogo and other locations have actually raised $1.9 million this year. So by grouping together, by branding something as Comicsgate, it might hurt creators. You're making a sacrifice by doing Comicsgate. Ethan is making a sacrifice by doing the Comicsgate, defending Comicsgate at the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. It's a sacrifice. There are avenues that could close to a creator if they call themselves Comicsgate. Every day I've been running the website for it'll be 4 years in November. Every day I'm always worried that am I going to get a legal letter in the mail because I'm running something called Comicsgate. It's kind of like, oh wow, there could be consequences. If you call yourself Comicsgate, and so you have these kind of you searching your soul or whatever, but you're just kind of doing a gut check. It's like, am I invested in this? And the answer is yes, I'm invested in Comicsgate. There's also, oh by the way, there's a Comicsgate community on Twitter. I should put the link to that in the chat because not everyone can find it. I don't know if it's shadow banned or if they're just not promoting communities anymore. But you can actually go to the Comicsgate community. I forgot to promote that. Also, Fund My Comic. These guys, Luke Stone has been, he's done what I haven't been able to yet accomplish, which is create a crowdfunding platform that can compete with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Your home for crowdfunding, home for comics and games. Now, I don't think it says Comicsgate on here, but he is promoting. Comic skaters are welcome on this website. And there's a lot of people who are promoting their books right now, and some of them have reached 5 figures. Let's see here. The Mythicals got $10,070. Let's see. Merkmaid is up to $10,252. Let's see here. Bronze Star, $10,719. Mike Barron, the great Mike Barron, really nice gentleman. Punisher, a writer. I think everything we know about the Punisher as a character, a lot of those were things that Mike Barron had created when he was the writer on the I guess the original Punisher run, and now they've kind of ended it and undid everything that he created. And so, but you can support Mike Barron on fundmycomic.com. And so having platforms that promote Comicsgate, we can't have enough of these. I got to be honest with you. That we need as many things promoting Comicsgate as possible, and Comicsgate campaigns. You know, I need to update my website a lot more because I wasn't able to keep up with the projects. So what I did was I took the CG Now link and I said, oh yeah, you can find Comicsgate campaigns there. And I took the Creator Go kind of scroll there for the latest campaign, so that people they go to the website. I think people were complaining after Timcast that I wasn't doing a good enough job of promoting campaigns. That's true. You know who does do a good job of promoting campaigns though are creators, creators who are posting videos, and these automatically filter to the website. So if you're doing here's the Ace, the writer's cut. Try to find some creators actually promoting their campaigns here. They're not always, but creators are making videos, and sometimes doing a shill stream doesn't always do well as doing kind of content that's good for YouTube. But you know, but if you promote your video, if you promote your projects on your videos, the website's going to invariably be promoting it. Luke Stone's on here. Every time he does a Fund My Comic update, it gets into the comicsgate.org feed. Here's me. Hey, I did a text adventure that you can. I'll be releasing soon. Here's Dan Frega doing one of his draw streams. I think he does that every day. Let's see here. Trying to see when the science goes mad. So it's not always the best YouTube content to promote a campaign, but I'm just saying that, you know, I do want to promote channels. John Malin says we need to promote channels, that the success ratio for Comicsgate creators, but also indie creators, is their ability to self-promote on their YouTube channel. So even more important than posting links to projects is promoting YouTube channels of indie creators and comic skaters, so that more people can subscribe to their channels, so that when they do launch, they have a built-in or growing fan base. And so you really can't do enough to promote your channels. And so that's what I decided to focus on. It was actually one of the first suggestions that Adam Post made to me, was he was the brainchild, Adam Post. Thank you again, Adam Post, for the Comicsgate.org Comicsgate video feed. He said, I said, yeah, I can do postings for projects and for videos. And he said, do the videos. We need something that promotes videos. And so here's the Shane Davis video that got promoted before the API broke. Haters crying, Eric July's ISOM 2 cracks 1 million in 24 hours. And so, yeah, the idea of just posting videos, and it's called Comicsgate Video. He said, you should call it Comicsgate Video. And so it ended up being 90% of the referral traffic for Comicsgate.org, just by having these things. And they don't always get retweeted. Sometimes the thumbnail doesn't come through properly. Sometimes people just don't see it. Here's some Morning Nonsense by Literature Devil. He always seems to get into the subject line of the of my morning newsletter that goes out. So this gets emailed out every day. So even if you can't get the videos on Twitter right now because it's not auto posting, if you go to the website and you subscribe, you'll get these videos in your inbox every single morning. But yeah, Lit Dev always seems to get there because he's got Morning Nonsense, and so sometimes he's the last video in the queue. And so I wonder if I always wondered if like creators were trying to game that when they posted something in order to get into the newsletter, which I think there's like a limit though. There's like it can do like 50 videos a day or something in the newsletter. It's just some limitations on the plugin. But there it is. I mean, I'm trying my best to. Here's Narwhal, great Comicsgate creator, Cerberus. I'm looking forward to his launch of Earthbound 3. It's the Earthbound series. I think it's one of my favorite Comicsgate books that are out there. And if you can get your hands on his kind of script writing manuals and just kind of his storytelling books, if he ever offers them on a campaign, pick them up. There's so much that he knows about kind of stagecraft and storytelling, and not just heroes' journeys, but just all types of stories and the different kinds of stories that there are. Narwhal's a very prolific Comicsgate creator, and fully on board with the movement, and it's always been very supportive, and I love to support creators like Narwhal, who kind of are first time. No, I don't know if he's a first time creator before he did this. I think he might have had a campaign or two before that. Here's Brian Menard, the real reason the Titanic sank. So you got other kinds of content that get onto here. Here's Phil Diaz. There's John Malin, post Kangs. So I'm disappointed that I can't get the API issues squared away immediately. I was hoping for a quick fix, but it might take a little bit more time. Yeah, I mean, this is what it is. But I do think that promoting Comicsgate is advantageous. I think that there is a way to defeat the Wikipedia article. That I've got the receipts to prove that you can get above the Wikipedia article. So maybe I get around with. I'm still working with the developer on Comicsgate.com for a crowdfunder. And I think that if a lot of traffic goes to that, it could easily get above both the Wikipedia article and the Comicsgate.org. But what I wanted to do though was to link the two websites together so that there was a promotional vehicle for Comicsgate, and there would be a funding platform explicitly for Comicsgate for people who want to be Comicsgate. And so I'm still working on that. But I think it can help. I think that it's something that's been marketed. And when Ethan Van Sciver goes on to Timcast and he promotes Comicsgate, everyone goes to the website. So I felt like, oh yeah, having Comicsgate websites can be, that's proof because the website crashed that, and this is what happened. It crashed the website. Over 20,000 people were trying to get to Comicsgate.org. We picked up a bunch of subscribers, and it boosted the Google ranking. So in Ethan Van Sciver's hands, Comicsgate is an enormously marketable brand. And I think that's a good thing. I think that it's a good thing that there's a Comicsgate trademark that, again, began in 2018, not 2023, 2018, was the Box Day imprint and Ethan's cease and desist letter. And that's when this all started. When we talk about the trademark, it wasn't in 2020 when Preston Poulter did his bullshit application. It was in this article actually acknowledges it. Acknowledges the Box Day story, and that Ethan had the routine, and so that's all in there. And so, yeah, this has been going on for a lot longer than 2020 or 2023. This goes back to 2018, the first uses of Comicsgate in commerce, and it's a costly thing for Ethan to defend this trademark. And I appreciate it. I've got something called Comicsgate, so I guess I'm one of the beneficiaries of the fact that he's defending it. Ethan's been so generous. He promoted Comicsgate.org so many times. He's been generous to have me on a stream. I don't have much else to promote. I got the websites, and when the websites don't work, maybe I'm not doing as good a job as I should be. But it's a sacrifice. Doing Comicsgate, it does sacrifice time. And so, but I wanted to just kind of remind people of how this all started, why there's a trademark battle, and why it's important that we win it. And I think Ethan is winning. I think that this is going to be, this is something where the reexamination proceeding was a success. And that's they're going to be looking at the reexamination at the trial now. There was a motion to try to say, let's do summary judgment on some of the matters that came up on valid uses of commerce. But I think it's going to be very difficult to overturn I hope anyways, that it's going to be difficult to overturn the reexamination proceeding, which found that Comicsgate was validly used in commerce in 2020. And then you can go back further. Oh no, there goes, oh, good thing I'm on my entire screen here. So I'll just drop it right back up there. Oh no, come on, get it up there. Oh no, we've lost my screen. All right, we'll just close that one. We don't need the Comicsgate video feed anymore. There it is. I hate it when when your mouse starts acting on its own, or there it goes again. It's highlighting everything. Stop it. So the notice of termination of proceeding, there it goes again. Maybe we should just come off the screen. But yeah, there's an ongoing proceeding at the U.S. Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. If you want to support and help out with that, please back the 2023 All Caps Comics and CG Apparel campaign. And that the profits of that, I think, go to helping out with the legal costs, which I think are substantial. I mean, it's not easy to do this stuff. I know how much the legal letter costs, so maybe that's what it costs every time you've got to do a filing at the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. In any event, I wanted to respond to the Parnell's video because it was like, just don't call it Comicsgate. It's like, well, I had Comicsgate.org. I didn't have a choice. I was going to either promote Comicsgate or I wasn't going to promote Comicsgate. I have the Comicsgate video Twitter account. I was either going to promote Comicsgate or I wasn't going to promote Comicsgate. Ethan had Comicsgate Live, and he was either going to promote Comicsgate or not promote Comicsgate when Preston Poulter did his bullshit application. But fortunately, Ethan is fighting. And I think he's winning with this reexamination proceeding, and then now it's going to a full trial. It's going to be going on for the next year or so. So I wish Ethan Van Sciver good luck in this. Scott Hudeman, the attorney, very nice gentleman. I think Ethan's in good hands, and I think that they're doing everything they can to protect the name Comicsgate from people who would try to use it. Let's see if I click over here. Maybe I'll cancel. All right, so if I click over here, will I be able to come back over here now and not have this thing highlighting everything? But yeah, that is they're going to do everything they possibly can to, I think, protect the trademark from people who would use it against Comicsgate and Comicsgaters like myself, but also, Ethan and everyone who goes out there with the name Comicsgate. He's threatening to take down people's websites. You might want to get ready to change your website. Well, I'm not changing my website. I'm not going to call it something else. I'm going to call it Comicsgate because I believe in the movement. I believe in the fans kind of standing up against what mainstream was putting out there. And I've learned a whole lot more about it because of Comicsgate. I've made so many changes, both professionally and what I was working on. I decided to say, hey, maybe I should make a book. And, I don't have a lot of time to draw, so I didn't really get around to that, but I did build the website. So I wanted to promote Comicsgate, and I wanted to defend Comicsgate. And I thank Ethan for doing that. I'm not changing the website. I'm not calling it something else, out of my cold, dead hands. This is Robert Romano with Comicsgate.org. Let's go to the chat. Actually, there's a lot of chats here. Why don't we do that? Let's do the chats. No, I never get chats. So if I read the chats, even if they're not super chats, I'm not monetized. Oh no. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. We can see. Okay. We'll go to the top here. 8-bit. Your audio is messed up. I know. I screwed up. I fixed it though. I figured out what was wrong. F. The audio is so bad. So much distortion. It stopped. Lackham Amir. Okay. Thanks for listening, guys. Gopher says better. Fenrifier says hail. Gopher. Good. I thought you were trolling there for a minute. No, I just screwed up. I had my YouTube video open because I wanted to share the link out. Let's see. Fenrifier. Preston's a fool. Improbi. Rich Johnston. Known liar. Improbi. Vicky should really get a job and a life. Improbi. Polterborn with a silver spoon in his mouth. Think the world needs to bow to him. James 1066. Hail. Improbi says hail James 1066. Tank Ferret. Hey, Tank, how you doing, man? Hail to all you magnificent bastards. Yeah, happy Father's Day out there to all you fathers. What fresh shall hath happened upon this day of fathers? Well, I mean, there was the Parnells did their video. They wanted to talk about the omnibus, but they were kind of attacking the trademark. And I was like, if I had never contacted the attorney, I don't know what would have happened with the trademark. I don't know what would have happened with the Malpica trial, but it didn't look like anything good was happening. So I kind of feel responsible for the path of, kind of going down, let's defend the trademark, and then introducing Ethan to the attorney. And then he decided, with his own counsel, that he was going to do that. And so I feel kind of responsible. Like if something goes wrong with the trial, I'll be heartbroken. I mean, I want to see Ethan win. I want to see Comicsgate win. I want to keep Comicsgate.org at the top of Google when you search for Comicsgate. I want Comicsgate.com to be at the top of there as well. I've spent a considerable amount of capital, frankly, on development for these platforms. It's not cheap, but I'd like to be able. You should be allowed to call it Comicsgate. That shouldn't be an issue. When Ethan's been so generous and he's helped so many people on Comicsgate Live and on Comicsgate Kings. And so I think that it's an important fight. And so I thank Ethan for doing this. Let's see here. And Tank Ferret, how am I not surprised that Vicky is involved? Yeah, so he's responding to the trademark there. All right, so Tank Ferret says, fund my comic for the win. Let's see here. Tank Ferret. Robert, you're doing a great job. Thank you, Tank. I feel like I don't say that enough. Well, don't thank me yet. We never know what's going to happen with these proceedings. Maintaining the server, it's not cheap, guys. So I'm committed though. As long as I can afford to continue development, I'm going to keep making the investment because I believe in Comicsgate, and I'm not going to call it something else. Let's see. Tank Ferret, F Fox. Let's see. Tank Ferret, that legal work isn't cheap. It isn't. Just getting one letter, it costs like $1,500 to do that letter. Let's see here. Tank Ferret, Bravo, RBS, or meant to say EVS. Bravo, EVS. Yes. Thank you, Ethan, for fighting. Let's see here. Buy more frog products, says Tank Ferret. Hey, there's a celebrity in the house. Mr. Dong's Father's Day, a day that will live in CG infinity. I don't know about that, Mr. Dongs. How you doing? Tree Goblin wants me to go play the piano, but it's all the way upstairs. I'd have to start a new live stream. To ask Anthony, Dark Gift, to get the live stream or the open mic night going. I'll sit down for that. Last year I was in mourning because my father passed away. Today's Father's Day. Rest in peace, Dad. But it was difficult. The last time I played piano was actually at his funeral at the church. It's difficult. I think about playing piano. I think about him. It's all intertwined. That actually happened on a night of an open mic night. And I actually performed that night, the day he died. I just had to get out there. I don't know. You don't know how you're going to act or how you're going to respond to a loss. God, I'm getting choked up. Miss you, Dad. Anyways, guys, happy Father's Day. This is Robert Romano with Comicsgate.org. Hit that subscribe button. Wait, we got more chats here. Okay. We'll go through the chats. Survive Infinity. Hail, Robert. How you doing, Survive? Let's see. Hail, Mr. Dong, says Tank Ferret. Tree Goblin. Mr. Dongs, yo, Tank Ferret. I didn't know Robert Romano live stream, but the alternative was Dark Gift talking about mowing his lawn for 5 minutes. Tree Goblin, hey, Tank. Let's see. LOL. Fenrir Fire. Thanks for coming to the chat, guys. I never have a chat, so I'm just going to go through these, and then next time you'll show up and you want to talk to me, and I'll talk. We'll build an audience here. I'm gonna talk about websites. I'm gonna talk about Comicsgate. I'm gonna keep talking about this trial. Let's see here. Fenrir Fire. Texas Mofo. You're good peeps, Robert. You're good peeps too, Texas Mofo. Keep promoting Comicsgate streams. Every little bit, everything you guys do in the chat, promoting Comicsgate on Twitter, doing the super chats, all of that helps, I think. and supporting these creators, but also kind of pushing it back against the mainstream. I think it's very important that we get our voices out there and that we not be intimidated. I know that who was it? Ed Ruth. He got called out at a comic book convention in Canada because of Comicsgate.org. Comicsgate.org. He was promoting the fact that he was at the convention and he was a volunteer, and he was promoting that. And Comicsgate.org pumped out one of his videos, and then I think that's how somebody at the convention found it. And they ended up issuing like an 800-word statement against this volunteer who was like getting coffee or something. And so, there is a consequence to being Comicsgate. And so if anyone doesn't want to be on the Comicsgate.org website, I'll take it down. I don't mind that. And I won't have hurt feelings or anything because of that. Because, you could actually be confronted at a convention for being Comicsgate. It's actually happened. So I don't know if am I taking a danger onto myself by having a website or websites called Comicsgate? But I believe in this movement. I believe in, kind of pushing back against the mainstream, and that the indies are the way. And this promotional vehicle of kind of build your channels, and it totally works, guys. At my day job, Americans for Limited Government, because of Comicsgate, I told my boss that we should be promoting videos on YouTube. I said, we need to start getting videos out there. That's the way to communicate with people nowadays. And we had about 500 subscribers then, and we just got over 10,000 subscribers. We've had some very good video people come on, and who really know what they're doing, and have really grinded it out. And we got a blossoming channel on Facebook as well. We actually have like 350,000 followers over there. But you can get ad revenue from that, and that can support the organization. Well, it works the same way for comic skaters and YouTubers and indie creators who are using video platforms to promote. Let's see here. Fender and Fire. Sorry to hear that, Rob. You're an amazing piano player. Hey, when Anthony goes back with the open mic, I'm in. I will overcome my grief and be able to play again. Tank Ferret, cheers to Rob's dad. Yep, cheers to him. I don't have any alcohol right now, just my coffee. Let's see here. Improvi, hope you have a great day, Robert. I'm appreciative of all the hard work you put in for Comicsgate. Let's see. You're an amazing piano player, says Fender and Fire. And singer, I have to add. Well, thank you for that. I'll get back to it. I will play piano again. I'm just waiting for Anthony to do it. I don't know if anyone watched a Robert Romano live stream where I'm just playing piano or something. I could barely get anyone to watch my my text adventure yesterday. But I've got a open AI text adventure. Check out on the channel. I did a demo yesterday. I did a demo yesterday, and it's working. And I had, I noted a few bugs as I was kind of working through it. Yeah, open mic's awesome. Go to Tony. Tell him you want open mic night to come back. He's got a growing channel too. So I don't know if he has time necessarily. If he doesn't, if he doesn't think that people want an open mic night, then nobody's demanding it. Like maybe we would like to play. I'm sure he would like to play, but if the fans don't want to see it, then maybe he's not going to put as much time into it. But he has said it's going to come back, and I think he's just getting around to it. So we'll see. Tank Ferret says, I toasted with coffee too. Seems appropriate for today. Yeah, I do miss Dad. He was a great man. He was in the Navy, and I think he got sick from being on the USS Coral Sea. And so he died before his time. But he had a long life in any event, but he has so many conditions. And he spoke with a veterans advocate many years later. He's like, oh, you have a trifecta of illnesses that are often associated with exposure to things like Agent Orange. You might be entitled to compensation. I wish he'd never had that conversation with the veterans advocate, because regulations at the VA and various court rulings were going to make it so he couldn't get it. And then Congress passed a bill called the Blue Water Navy vets bill in 2020, and it was signed into law. And we thought, oh, finally, they're going to give benefits to people who were on boats that were maybe too far away from the coast of Vietnam to have previously, kind of qualified for the benefit. But then it ended up being a lie. Like the bill was not a blue water Navy bill. It was like, oh, you have to be within 20 miles of the coast. And so they actually firmly established by law that limit. And so, I guess it brought to light maybe potentially what his illnesses were about. He had heart disease. He had he had his first heart attack when he was like 30. And it was some time after he came back, but maybe jet fumes or something like that. Who knows? I mean, was it Agent Orange? It's the whole point of the Agent Orange Act in the 1990s was that there was presumption of exposure. That if you had these illnesses, you didn't have to prove that you had gotten it during your service. The law was established so that there would be a presumption of exposure, so that any veterans who got sick and had the kind of the symptomatic conditions that were associated with exposure would be taken care of. So I guess, I know we know more now, or we don't really know what happened to him. But he's no longer with us, and I do miss him. And it's a tough thing. Let's see here. Got some more toasting with coffee. Thank you, Hank. Fender Fire, for sure, it was my jam Monday nights. Yeah, I miss open mic night. Tank Fire says, my mom and stepdad both passed away before my time, and I spent most of my time growing up without them. Their time, not my time. Yeah. Alex VRB's in the house. Hey, Alex VRB. And then everyone's just saying hi to each other, and I'm kind of rambling on here, but that's the story of my father, Anthony Romano. He's actually Anthony Romano Sr. No relation to the Anthony Romano Dark Gift. That's just a coincidence. Romano is like it's like John Smith in Sicily and Italy, and so it's a very common name. Fenrir Fire says, that's terrible, Robert. I know a vet who also suffered from Agent Orange and had trouble with government. Shame on our government. Yeah, there's shame on lying to veterans and telling them there's a blue water Navy vets bill that gives people hope. And the worst part of it was after Trump was out, Trump had signed that bill. I don't think he knew like the details of it, but it was providing a benefit. Maybe it was expanding it, but not expanding it enough for some veterans. So when Biden came in, he did the burn pits executive order. And just a few weeks before my father passed, he actually got a letter in the mail saying, hey, you qualify for benefits. And so I don't know if that gave him hope, or maybe he felt like there was some justice there. But at the end of his life, he did know that the government was trying to do something, and they're still trying to do something. My father's response to the VA was, I think the quote was, what are you waiting for us all to die? I think that's what they were doing. I think they didn't want to do the benefit. And that there were members of Congress who made sure that it would not get to my dad. Motherfuckers. But we think happy thoughts when I'm still dealing with the pain. But my father, he was a great man, taught me to never give up. Fathers, they teach us, and, to be leaders and to be strong and to be compassionate, and to never surrender. So that's where I'm at right now. Robert Romano, happy Father's Day, Comicsgate.org, and never surrender out there, guys. We're going to, if you want to be Comicsgate, call yourselves Comicsgate. I think that's okay to do, to support the movement. And if you want to support the legal battle, please do back the CG, all caps, and CG apparel campaign on Indiegogo. Links in the description. I'm signing off here. And you got, there's a couple more chats, but I want to keep jumping in there. I got to get out of here. So you guys have a good day and take care. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and happy Father's Day.